The scientific revolution broke away from the traditional view of the cosmos, which was a combination of ancient Greek philosophy and church teachings. And led to the development of new, more secular approaches to studying the world. In this video, I will give an overview of some of the most important players in the scientific revolution and explain how their ideas were truly revolutionary. One of the first great minds of the scientific revolution was Nicolaus Copernicus. And Copernicus spent much of his life studying astronomy, and he became fascinated by the idea of the heliocentric universe, which actually wasn't really a new idea. It dated back to the ancient Greeks, and the heliocentric universe was the idea where the sun was actually at the universe center, and this could be contrasted with the geocentric universe proposed by Ptolemy, where the Earth was at the center of the universe. And so Copernican theory removed Earth from center stage and really reduced the importance of Earth in God's universe. So it's not surprising that Copernicus was, kind of scared to publish his findings while he was alive. You think that, the Catholic Church would punish him. And so his principal work on the revolutions of heavenly bodies was not published until after his death. And it was a good thing, too, because religious leaders like Luther and Calvin, as well as the Roman Catholic Church, criticized Copernicus for his theories and said they directly contradicted the Bible. Sheesh, I wouldn't want to know what they would do if he were still alive. And Copernicus's ideas helped pave the way for other thinkers, such as Tycho Brahe. And Brahe was really influential in that he spent near 20 years observing and collecting data about the stars. And while this in itself is really impressive, it's his assistant, Johannes Kepler, who was able to use this data to make some pretty remarkable discoveries. And this is what we know today as Kepler's laws. So the first law is that orbits of planets were elliptical instead of circular. Secondly, Kepler found that planets move at different speeds around their elliptical orbits. And finally, he found that the amount of time it takes for a planet to orbit the sun depends on how far away the planet is from the sun. Similarly groundbreaking was the work of Galileo Galilei. And Galileo Galilei was working at about the same time as Kepler. And so Galilei built the very first telescope out of some old navigational instruments. And he used these to study the sky, and he discovered new stars that had previously been unseen. He discovered that the moon actually had craters, and that Jupiter had moons. And so what is so important about Galileo's findings? Well, they're important because they prove that the planets and heavenly bodies were not always as they appear to the naked eye. So Galileo not only made these discoveries, but actively promoted them, often arrogantly, and so of course this didn't really help his relationship with the Roman Catholic Church. And so Galileo's greatest work was called the Dialogue on the Two Chief Systems of the World. And in his work, he dismantled Aristotelian and Ptolemaic ideas and presented the Copernican system as the only logical way to view the universe. And of course the Roman Catholic Church was like, no he didn't. And they had him tried for heresy, made him recant his beliefs, and spend the rest of his life under house arrest. So yeah, they definitely sent a strong message about declaring the church fallible. And so the next thinker on our list is Sir Isaac Newton. and you probably all have heard of him from your physics class, and he developed a mathematical system of laws known as universal gravitation. And Newton published his findings in Principia Mathematica. And in Principia Mathematica, he stated that every body in the universe is attracted to every other body, and that the size of these attractions are based on the amount of matter in the bodies, and as well as the distance between them. And the final two thinkers that I'll be discussing today are René Descartes and Sir Francis Bacon. And these two dudes are considered or accredited with the development of the modern day scientific method, which is obviously incredibly important for the field of science. And so Bacon rejected the Aristotelian idea of speculation and said he believed that it was important to observe something in order to learn more about it. And so this reasoning that was based on observation is known as inductive reasoning. And Bacon really helped develop this type of reasoning. And inductive reasoning was also a fundamental aspect of empiricism. And empiricism is the use of observed evidence to gain knowledge. Descartes, on the other hand, had a very different approach. You could almost say he had an opposite approach to Bacon, in that he believed the universe was based on math and logic, and he proposed in his work Discourse on Method that the key to nature and understanding things like people and political institutions is math. And Descartes disagreed with Bacon and said, you can't simply observe things to learn about them, since the senses often deceive. Instead, Descartes had faith in human intellect and logic to understand the world. And his approach involved doubting everything, and then making generalizations based on obvious truths. And this is known as deductive logic. A famous example of deductive logic is the conclusion that because he could not doubt that he was thinking, that he must then therefore exist. And you may recall, and it may help you to remember, this idea of deductive logic from Descartes' famous quote, I think, therefore I am. Another important idea that Descartes developed was Cartesian dualism. And Cartesian dualism said that all things could be categorized as one of two things. They could be either matter, or things of the physical world, or they could be of the mind, which is more of a kind of a spiritual object. Okay, so I'm ending the list of scientists here just in the sake of time, but recognize that there were so many more scientists that contributed to the scientific revolution in fields varying from medicine to optics to chemistry. And the ideas of all the scientists I discussed in this video made a huge impact on society, leading to the formation of groups like the Royal Society of London, as well as the French Academy of Sciences. And these two different institutions in England and in France contributed and continue to support the sciences so that more and more scientists could enter the field and make discoveries. But I think the most important result of the scientific revolution was that it contributed ideas to the Enlightenment, whose thinkers were influenced by the thought that man could discern natural laws through careful observation and reason. And so in this video and in the previous video, we see a 180-degree change in how people view the universe, from the medieval view, where the Earth was at its center, to a view that really is not too different from the one we have today, where the Sun is at the center, and the Earth and planets orbit the Sun in elliptical orbits, and nature is bound by the laws of gravity, and we use the scientific method to make new discoveries.